On their way to perform a rescue mission, 4 nuclear submarines were suddenly harassed by dozens of whales. Faced with this unexpected situation, the captain ordered the submarines to dive 100 meters. However, to their surprise, after reaching the designated depth, the group of whales surrounded them again. This time, some whales even used their tail fins to attack the propellers. To escape, the captain ordered them to use the sonar at low power to drive the whales away. In a short period, the pod of whales dispersed, yet as soon as they departed, the sonar operator identified an immense creature gradually approaching, creating the impression that the entire ocean floor was elevating. Upon receiving this report, the captain was perplexed, and the strange actions of the whales were indeed a cautionary signal to maintain distance, as the creature they were about to encounter was colossal. With merely a flick of its appendage, one of the whales was propelled directly northwest. Meanwhile, the captain also saw the size of this creature on the screen, and it was now rapidly approaching the submarine. Faced with this terrifying scene, the Navy admiral on board strongly urged the captain to launch torpedoes immediately. However, the captain stated that they did not know what kind of creature they were dealing with, nor how it would react to an attack. Therefore, the captain ultimately refused the admiral's request, and then directly ordered his crew to change the submarine's depth to temporarily surface below the ice level, and instructed the navigator to see if there was a place to hide. He soon found an ice channel 2 nautical miles away, and the captain, without delay, ordered the submarine to enter fast. However, as the submarine moved swiftly into the ice channel, the creature behind had caught up. Due to the narrow ice channel, the submarine faced some obstacles upon entry. But for a Russian submarine, this was minor. They quickly boosted the submarine's power and squeezed it into the ice channel. Even so, the giant creature behind them continued to pursue. With just a slight movement, the ice on both sides began to close in. However, for the submarine, this wasn't the most deadly threat at the moment, because just then, Sheng Naiyuan noticed an ice barrier not far ahead. Upon hearing this news, the captain immediately ordered them to shut down the engines and activate the reverse propulsion system. However, it would still take some time for the submarine to come to a complete stop. As the submarine drew closer to the ice wall, everyone was visibly tense, thinking they might meet their end here. But the final outcome was unexpected, just when they were only 1.5 meters from the ice wall. The unexpected result allowed everyone to breathe a sigh of relief. However, they did not let their guard down because they still didn't know the situation with the giant creature, so no one dared to make any unnecessary moves. Yet, after quietly waiting for 2 minutes, the sonar source discovered that the giant creature was moving away from them. Hearing this exhilarating news, everyone finally relaxed. There were still many questions among the crew about the giant creature's sudden departure, but the Navy admiral didn't seem too concerned about this issue. He was only worried about whether the submarine's damage would affect their rescue mission. What he didn't know was that the submarine they requested for rescue was actually pulled into the seabed by this giant creature. The story likely goes back to a day earlier, when the Russian military's Yermak submarine, with the latest mysterious weapon, was on a routine patrol near the Arctic and encountered Swedish geologists collecting data nearby. They dropped small bombs underwater to map the seabed's topography through the vibrations from the explosions. However, just as the submarine moved through the explosion area, the sonar operator suddenly detected a massive abnormal signal quickly approaching them. Hearing this situation, the commander quickly instructed them to ready the sonar weapons. But just before launching the sonar pulse, the sonar operator found the signal target was already under 15 meters away. In this case, the captain had to swiftly adjust the submarine's direction and sound the battle alarm. Unexpectedly, the submarine shook violently. The next second, simultaneously, large cracks appeared on the ice, as if a creature was about to break through, creating a terrifying scene. The man dropped the equipment and ran towards the female scientist, who was still busy collecting things. Once he reached her, he quickly lifted her onto the snowmobile. By then, the ice behind them had already started to crack. Fortunately, the man was fast enough, revving up the engine as they raced towards the base. At that moment, it felt like they were racing against death itself. Even a second's delay could mean being swallowed up. However, sometimes avoiding one danger doesn't mean you're safe from another, as the ice in front of them suddenly exploded open. Fortunately, they remained unharmed, yet their base is presently in a terrible condition. In just a short moment, the entire base was completely engulfed. Meanwhile, the hull of the Russian submarine underwater has suffered severe damage, and all systems have lost control. The submarine is being slowly dragged to the seabed by a giant creature. At this moment, the captain knows the submarine is beyond saving. Amidst the chaos, he seizes the opportunity, leaps up, and quickly activates the submarine's locator buoy. Just as the buoy was about to surface, the submarine completely sank to the bottom of the sea. Shortly after, the commander of the Russian Northern Fleet received the news of the submarine's sinking. He couldn't believe that the latest generation submarine was gone just like that, and he couldn't accept that the costly newly built mysterious weapon was lying at the bottom of the sea. So, he immediately dispatched a submarine equipped with a deep-sea vehicle to the incident area. The captain in charge of this mission was Mark, the brother of the captain of the sunken submarine. Additionally, a naval rear admiral was sent to supervise him. If he made any improper commands during the mission, the rear admiral had the authority to relieve him of his command at any time. Later, as the submarine was about to approach the incident area, the scene from the beginning of the film appeared, with dozens of whales circling the submarine. At first, they didn't know the reason, but after narrowly escaping an attack from a giant creature, they realized that the whales were actually warning them. Then, using a positioning signal, they surfaced the submarine to the ice. There, besides finding 2 Swedish scientists, they didn't discover any other information about the submarine. Initially, they were going to leave directly, but the captain couldn't bear to leave them behind like that. He knew that in such harsh conditions, human life is very fragile. Leaving them would likely mean they'd perish in the cold. So the captain let them board the submarine. The submarine rapidly commenced its descent. They gathered around the positioning buoy, meticulously scanning the vicinity for any signs of the Yermak submarine, and proceeded to activate the active sonar system. They had been searching for less than 5 minutes when the sonar operator detected the signal of a giant creature again. It was rapidly heading towards the submarine, and at the current speed of the submarine, the giant creature would catch up in less than 3 minutes. Seeing this, the captain immediately ordered the helmsman to change direction to the right and instructed the navigator to find a point where the submarine could hide. Meanwhile, the sonar operator was told to open the ice intelligence station to check the area where the ice layer was thinner. The navigator quickly found a hiding spot less than 2 nautical miles away. At this point, the captain knew that to reach there, they had to pass by the Norwegian offshore drilling platform ahead. At this moment, they had under a minute before the giant creature would catch up. In this critical moment, the offshore drilling platform staff suddenly got a call from their superiors, telling them to watch the sea surface. The staff quickly activated the active sonar below, and surprisingly, within 5 seconds, the sonar operator in the submarine detected the giant creature had changed direction. Hearing this, the captain knew the chance had come. He immediately ordered the submarine to speed up to maximum and head to the hiding spot until they reached it. The giant creature also arrived at the drilling platform, and the staff, upon seeing such a massive creature, was momentarily stunned with fear. Initially, a colleague behind him wanted to alert others to prepare, but unexpectedly, the next second, the giant creature launched an attack on them. The entire attack process was clearly seen by the captain. To quickly inform everyone about the situation, he had the images he saw displayed on all the screens in the command cabin. Witnessing this shocking scene, everyone was in disbelief. They hadn't expected the creature that had been pursuing them to be so enormous, nor did they anticipate its immense attack power. In an instant, the entire oil drilling platform was destroyed. Just as they were fixated on the screen, the sonar operator suddenly discovered that the creature was charging towards them. Upon hearing this, everyone quickly returned to their stations. The captain then ordered the submarine to dive rapidly to a depth of 100 meters at a 30-degree angle. However, during the descent, the Navy admiral disagreed with the captain's actions. He did not believe that continuously evading the creature was the best solution. They needed to launch an attack. Consequently, he relieved the captain of command. Quickly prepped 2 torpedoes in the torpedo room. He plans to eliminate the creature entirely.